Last two Olympias that he won, or the last Olympia that he won.
Ronnie was starting to get a little heavier than what was best for his physique. His Olympia look wasn't great.
It was 2001, I did the Arnold Classic, and I decided I was gonna do the Olympia that same year. The night before the show, I'm getting tan. My girlfriend is putting my tan on, and we're in the bathroom. All of a sudden, I just faint. And I've never in my whole life, fainted before. And I wake up, I'm in the tub, I'm like, what happened? They like, you fainted. I'm like, what? It never happened to me before. And the next morning, when I wake up to get out of bed, I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted, I can't even get out of bed. I know how I'm supposed to feel, the morning of the show, and I'm always very energetic, and I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to fight, and I'm ready to get it on. This morning, I'm very exhausted. I can't get out of bed. I'm so tired. I'm so tired to the point that I actually feel like I'm about to die. So I call my nutritionist. I like, hey, dude, hey, the show is over with for me. I'm going to the hospital. He's like, no, man, don't do that. You put too much work into this. He's like, just grab a gallon of water and just drink as much as you can till you feel like you're okay. So I'm like, okay. So that's what I did. I grabbed a gallon of water. I think I drank about the whole gallon, that morning for the morning show. And by the time I finished that gallon of water, I felt pretty good. And I'm like, okay, I'm all right now. I'm back to my old self.
He's at the top, being Mr. Olympia, and then there was guys like Jay Cutler who was chasing him.
I went into the Mr. Olympia every year thinking I was gonna win. I never had a doubt. He was an obstacle I was trying to be the best in the world. And Ronnie was standing in my way. So every year it was a battle against Ronnie Coleman. I didn't give a shit about anyone else but Ronnie Coleman because I knew that was the only guy that could possibly beat me.
In 2001, a lot of people thought Jay Cutler had beaten him, and he beat him based on the dryness and the hardness of his frame. But the judges saw it differently, that Ronnie Coleman was just too big and too muscular.
Jay was sort of satisfied that he'd made the big breakthrough. I thought he'd won.
When I landed that second place in 2001, I was highly disappointed, even though I may not have shown it on stage, because I put a lot of effort into training for the contest.
The policeman out of Arlington, Texas, Ronnie Coleman. Jay Cutler has to wonder what he has to do to upset the champion.
When I looked at this house, I fell in love with it. It was brand new. I moved here in '96, 21 years. I paid cash for it when I won my first Olympia.
So I noticed you have your own gym here, right?
Yeah. You want to check it out?
Yeah.
Everything that I use at Metroflex, I put in here. My hack squat, my leg extension, leg curl, a calf machine over there. I got a decline, I got an incline, and I got a flat bench. It started at 5 and go all the way up to 200. I even put a T-bar row here. My legs are still numb, so I can't go heavy. I do light, so. They call the police on me all the time when I used to work out. Cause I be loud. Dude, this way, let's go. It's hot in here. Yeah. I told you we caught the guys stealing out of the cars. You got this monitor right here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. The lights down there, they come on at night. You walk past and it lights up the whole thing down there.
The day that Jay Cutler actually beat Ronnie Coleman, you could hear a collective passing of the torch. The crowd shift. It just really went straight to Jay. I think a lot of people were making up for the 2001 victory that Jay should have got that he didn't get. People were cheering for the upset. We've seen so much of Ronnie Coleman that eventually, like Mike Tyson, you tune in to hopefully see the champ get knocked out.
The younger version of you is lurking out there somewhere. And, you know, you're going to meet that hellfire person, you know, so it happens.
I was fed up. You know, I wasn't sure how much longer I could keep getting second place. And my whole family came out. You know, I always had my family there, my brothers, sisters, everyone came out. Family, friends, I think I bought 100 tickets for that event that year.
Ronnie came in off. Ronnie doubted himself that night. And I remember being backstage and seeing it, you know, unfold. You know, when you compete at that level, you can kind of sense and see. You get to know people's personalities and their approach and everything. And Ronnie just showed up as a different Ronnie that night.
Ronnie was going for 9 and didn't get 9. Jay Cutler beat him.
The Olympia gold medal to the 2006 Mr. Olympia, Jay Cutler!
When Jay knocked out the champ, it validated years of work that Ronnie Coleman had done before him. And there's not a champion out there that's not susceptible to getting knocked out and getting beaten. We've seen it happen. We saw Mike Tyson lose. We saw Muhammad Ali lose. And we saw Ronnie Coleman lose to Jay.
The night I beat Ronnie, 2006, it was a flash. He knew he was going to lose, and I think he didn't think that until the very end because he was Ronnie Coleman. He hadn't lost in a very long time.
I thought it was pretty much automatically that I was going to win number 9 because I had won like 8 in a row. So like, you know, you come up go for number 9 and like, okay, those 8 were, you know, I worked hard for them. So I'm thinking, you know, number 9 just going to be a breeze.
I, you know, won on that stage, and it was the first time in history that a Mr. Olympia was beaten on that stage.
When Ronnie Coleman was beaten by Jay Cutler, it took a little bit of the shine off. I can only imagine Ronnie Coleman being Mr. Olympia for like 8 times, and then he loses to a guy that he was routinely beating in head-to-head competition.
You know, in the end, it happened. You know, Jay took him, but that wasn't Ronnie at his best. You know, the injuries had shown up, and you know, he was battle-worn by that time.
I didn't beat the best Ronnie Coleman ever. I don't want people ever to think like, oh, well, Ronnie was at his best and Jay was at his best. It's not the case. I just was better that day. You know, time was creeping up. He was going for his record number 9. A lot of publicity going into the show. But I felt bad for Ronnie. I felt bad winning, which is weird. Because, you know, it was everything to him. You know, and he was going for number 9. It was the record to beat Lee Haney's record. And he was upset. You know, he was visually upset.
My name is Mike Heisey. I'm an orthopedic surgeon with Texas Back Institute, and I specialize in spine surgery. So Ronnie came to me from a friend of mine who has known him and has worked out with Ronnie for years and years. And when he had a particular problem with his back that Rob knew that I knew how to operate on, he referred Ronnie to me. And it's an advanced stage of really degeneration, wear and tear, and that's from all of the weight he's been putting through his back over the years. So it had worn out the discs. And he had operations before I met him to try and unpinch some of the nerves and make room for the nerves, and then ultimately an attempt at trying to hold the bones still that didn't heal up. So we tried to do another operation to get him to heal up and try and improve his alignment. These are the artificial hips now. They're already in by the time I met him. There's one of them and the other. And then you can see the screws, and you can see how collapsed this disc is. We were able to lift it up some. Got his alignment a little bit better. Now he's got this spacer in here. This is lifted up. We were able to get that one lifted up. You see how collapsed this was. We weren't able to get this one pulled back as far as I hoped, but some. And this looks like it's on the CAT scan. Looks like it's healed. We were able to get the nerves unpinched at that level. Disc is okay, but the joint is wearing to some degree. We see this all the